And the next generation will be the textbook will be the same. They will all change. Why? Because all this knowledge that we are receiving is all experimental knowledge. What it means? Like Gandhiji gave one version of Bhagavad Gita. What is the name? My experiments with truth. Now, that is to be have acceptance of truth. What is that to experiment with? So Bhagavad Gita is that supreme absolute truth which never changes. So this knowledge has never changed. Not only in last 5,000 years, Krishna gives the history of this knowledge. This was spoken millions of years before, even to sun god Vivaswan. And he says, the same knowledge I am revealing to you. So we also have the opportunity to receive the same knowledge which was spoken to sun god and which was spoken to Arjuna, provided we accept and we don't experiment. Because if we continue to experiment, we will never be able to reach the conclusion. So how to reach the conclusion is to accept the conclusion of those who are realized. Like someone will say that, no, I will experiment. That H2O is water or not. Is there any point to experiment? He has to take 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen and convert it into water. And if he drinks that water, he can utilize that water. If he keeps experimenting in the lab, what utility can have? Hardly. So this book is a book which is a book how coming in this human form of life, we should live life. How we should live life. So we are on the 7th chapter. So far, Krishna has explained in the first 6 chapters that how the living entity in this material body, what he should perform his prescribed duties. He should work. We have so commonly heard that Gita says work is worship. Karma hi puja hai. But what kind of work? What kind of work? That is very important. So in the first 6 chapters, Krishna emphasized to work with detachment. Because if one works with detachment, one receives knowledge. Knowledge about self, who he is, what is the purpose of life, and how he can fulfill and achieve the purpose of life. So if he remains attached and if he works for fruitive results, trying to enjoy the fruits or results of his actions, then he cannot have this realization. That is why we see in the world hardly 1% is realized. Why? Because everyone is inspired by the results and they want to enjoy the results. So Krishna gives the emphasis, focus in the first 6 chapters to work with detachment. To work with detachment, one receives knowledge of the self and also the Supreme Lord. But in the chapter from 7 to 12, Krishna gives a higher goal. Krishna talks about that, okay, working with detachment, one will be free from the reactions of work. Okay. But that is not the goal. The goal is to achieve the perfection of human life. Shri Shri Radha Parsarthi Bhagavan ki jai. So that is someone who comes in this material body and he identifies himself with the material body. And he performs action assuming that he is material body. So such actions are prone to reactions. What is the law of Newton? Which law is that? Third law. What is the law?
Every action is equal and opposite
reaction. What kind of action? Action which is in the material platform. And what is the action of the material platform? When this living entity who comes into this material world, he enters into the material body and he identifies himself with the material body. Are we on that platform or not? We are in this material world. We are in the material body. And what we are doing? We are identifying ourselves also with the material body. So based on our material consciousness, we perform the activities, they are all called karma. And it forces us to receive reactions of our actions. So if one comes out from this cycle, he does not identify himself with material body. He knows that there are two distinct entities, that he is the owner of the body, but he is not the body. Like you see a car and the owner of the car. Are they both the same? No. But when you see, when there is a accident or a road rage, you know what is a road rage? So if someone comes and hits the car from behind, the owner of the car comes out and what he says? Huh? How did you hit me? Isn't it? So what is he doing? He is identifying himself with the car. Is he the car? So that is Gyan. So the first 6 chapters speaks about not to identify oneself with the material body. And for that, Krishna prescribes what kind of action? He performs action without being attached to the results or the rewards of the action. One has to perform action in a way where one is nishkam, detached action. But here, Krishna is progressing in this chapters 7 to 12. Krishna is here emphasizing that not only one should be detached while performing action, he should work with devotion. That is when we come to the spiritual platform. When one works with devotion, he performs action to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is called bhakti. Bhakti means activities which are aimed to please the Supreme Lord. So, Krishna will speak on this very important aspect of how to perform work in devotion. And to be able to perform action on the platform of devotion, one has to be situated in knowledge. Knowledge about the Supreme Lord. So Krishna gives knowledge about himself. So in the 7th chapter, this section is from 7 to 12. So what we see from the 7th chapter beginning, Krishna speaks knowledge about himself. And Krishna also glorifies this knowledge which he is going to bestow to Arjuna. So first, in the first 3 verses that we discussed, we saw Krishna says that bring your attachment towards me. So far in this material world, we have attachment in so many material objects, in so many other living entities. But all those attachments are on the material platform. So Krishna suggests to have to cultivate attachment towards him. And how one can cultivate attachment towards Krishna? Yes, very good. Perfect answer. By hearing about it. By hearing about it. So as we hear about him, we develop attachment towards him. We develop positive feelings towards him. So that is the purpose of human life. Not just to remain detached. The quality of the soul is that it can never return detached. It is not inert. Soul is active. The body becomes dead when the soul leaves the body. So the soul can never be completely inert. It is which infuses life in the body. So the property and the character of the soul is to have attachment. So if it does not cultivate spiritual attachment, what it develops? It cultivates material attachment. Attachment based on body. So Krishna is giving a higher goal. He is giving a goal of becoming attached to him. And how can one become attached to him is by the process of hearing. And then further Krishna says that if one is having the taste for hearing, if one hears about Krishna, then through Krishna, Krishna will reveal both the knowledge and realization. That is Jnanam and Vijnanam. Both will be realized. And there is nothing else remaining in this world to know. But to come to that platform, it is not easy for anyone and everyone. Such souls are rare. That Krishna speaks in the third chapter. And then Krishna explains what is Jnanam, knowledge about this material universe and how this material universe constitute. So Krishna speaks about the 8 aspects of the material elements, which is his energies. So Krishna spoke about earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So these are the 8 separated energies of Krishna. This is the 4th verse. And then Krishna says, apart from this material energies, which all constitute this material creation, also there is the spirit soul, which is superior to this material energies. And what these spiritual beings in this material body they are trying to do, they are trying to exploit the material resources. And he says, either on the material platform, that is the material nature, or either on the spiritual platform, that is the living entities. For the source or the foundation or the origin of both comes from me. So Krishna very emphatically declares in this chapter of Bhagavad Gita that he is the source of both. And then in the 7th chapter, Krishna spoke that there is no one who is superior to me because everything emanates from him. He is the source of everyone and everything. But he is invisible to all. How is invisible to all? So Krishna gives a very good example. He says, like the pearls. You see the pearl here? You see a pearl necklace? There on Radha Parsarthi. And the pearls are there, no, white, big pearls are there. But you only see the pearls. And how these pearls are joined together? Because of the thread. Is the thread visible? No. And if there is no thread, can the pearls be in this form, in this shape? No. So Krishna says, and then he says that everything rests upon me. So Krishna gives the principle, and now he will explain that principle, that how everything rests upon him, how he is all pervasive, how in this entire material creation, he is the essence, he is the origin, he is the foundation. All those aspects of knowledge, Krishna will explain from verse number 8 to 11. So Krishna will explain in 14 aspects that how Krishna is the sum and substance of entire material creation, how everything rests upon him, and how he is the maintainer and sustainer of everyone and everything. This is very important knowledge, very powerful knowledge. How to see Krishna's presence in his creation. We want many times people challenge. If Krishna is God, then show me. So, if we want to see Krishna, then we have to qualify ourselves. In our unqualified state, we cannot see our own intelligence. Can we see our intelligence? That means we don't have intelligence. This is not a very intelligent answer. Yeah? So, if we cannot see ourselves, we cannot see our mind, we cannot see our intelligence. Yeah? So many subtle aspects of our own self we cannot see. So how we can demand and claim? But Bhagavad Gita gives us that vision. Bhagavad Gita gives us that knowledge. How we can see Krishna is through the chakshu. Chakshu means the eyes of knowledge. Both through the eyes of knowledge and through the eyes of devotion. So first Krishna explains Jnanam, which is there in the chapter number 7 and chapter number 8. So Krishna will speak the effect of how in this entire material creation, both he is the cause and he is also the effect. This verse number 8. Famous verse. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sachi suryayo pranava sarva vedeshu shabdakhe parusham nishu. You want to repeat? Should repeat. Try to repeat. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sachi suryayo
Navasmi Sashiturya
pranava sarva vedeshu
Sarva Vedeshu
shabdekhe parusham nishu.
Sabdakhe Paurusam.
So how to see the effect? How to see the presence of the Supreme Lord in his creation? So Krishna is giving that Jnana Chakshu, that eyes of knowledge. The first thing he says is that Rasa Ham Apsu Kaunteya. Rasa means the sapidity. You understand what is sapidity? What is sapidity? Yes, it is the flavor or the taste. So Krishna is the flavor and the taste of water. Because if there is no taste in water, it is not potable. Even if you drink, you will not be quenched. You will not be satisfied. So if we drink water and that quenching of the thirst, that satisfaction in water is there due to the effect of Krishna. Krishna is the rasa. Krishna is the effect. And then he says, Prabha Asmi Sashi Suryayo. So what is the effect of moon and the sun? Light. If it is a dark day, then what we say? There is no sun. If both cannot happen, there cannot be the shining of the sun and there cannot be darkness. Both cannot coexist. So Krishna says that Prabha, that effulgence or the light which is emanating from the moon and the sun, it is coming from me. Without Krishna's intervention or without Krishna's bestowing this potency, the sun and the moon, they cannot emanate light. Just here, it may seem a little out of context for us because we have never thought about it. And why we have not thought about it? Because we never know about it. So here, that knowledge is being revealed to us. So two aspects Krishna has explained. First, he is the taste of water, rasom vapsu kaunte. And then second, he says that I am the effulgence or the illumination or light amongst both the moon and the sun. Then he says, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. That amongst all the syllables, the three little word Om. Pranava mantra is going to be the Om. And Om is there in all the literatures in Vedeshu. In the Vedas, Krishna says that syllable Om is me. Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. And he says not only that I am the syllable Om, which is there in the Vedas, he says Shabdekhe, that in the ether, what travels? Sound. So the effect in the ether is the sound. So Krishna says, Shabdekhe, that I am that sound vibration in the ether. And also Parusham Nishu. So amongst the Parusham means the man. And Parusham means the ability or whatever strength one has. Of course, male is considered to be having more physical strength as compared to the strength of the females. So he says that whatever strength which is there in the man, Nishu means in men, amongst all these. Whatever skill, whatever ability, whatever strength, whatever power, whatever quality one is exhibiting, the source of it is all Krishna. So Krishna is expressing here that how to be able to see his presence in the material existence. Everyone drinks water. Is there anyone who can sustain without water? No. So to sustain our life, to continue to live and exist, we all require water. In fact, science says the constituents of the body, what is the maximum percentage? 70% is water. So without water, no one can survive. And in that taste, the essence of the water is the taste. Like if you happen to be in the sea. So water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Why? Because that sea water is salty. That taste is not there. And if that taste is not there, you cannot drink, you cannot quench. So Krishna is that essential active principle which makes the source effective. Okay, so how many attributes or qualities here Krishna is explaining in the effect? How many we discussed in this verse? 5. What are these 5? What is the first one? Quickly. 1 minute. What is the first one? Okay, second. Very good. Light of sun. Third. Yeah. Amongst in all the Vedas, the chanting of the Om is recommended, and he says that Om is me. The effect of that Om is me. What is the fourth? No, you missed one. What is the fourth one? Shabdekhe. Shabdekhe. Normally people miss this. They consider Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Shabdekhe. No, they are different. They are two different, distinct. And Paurusham Nishu. I am the ability. Now see the translation. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. So in this way, Krishna is explaining how to see Krishna's presence in this material existence. So these are Krishna's vibhutis or Krishna's energies. Like you see the government is run by the Prime Minister. But how the Prime Minister functions? He has so many ministries, and under so many ministries, there are so many departments. Under so many departments, there are so many various government employees who are working. So is the Prime Minister present in every department? Is he present in every office? If you see total number of government departments and government offices in India, it will be in many, many thousands. But how he functions, how the Prime Minister functions? Through these various ministries and departments. So all of them are his energies. All of them are his expansion. And through these various departments and through these various persons, he is able to exercise control or monitor and regulate every citizen of India. So similarly, the Supreme Lord is the governing head of the entire creation. So everything which is created in this creation is governed by him. That we will see in the 9th chapter. Krishna will speak that how the material nature is acting or functioning under his superintendence. So how he governs or how he sustains, as we have said that he is the maintainer and sustainer of everyone. So how he maintains and sustains, so all those details are given. One may answer is, after you people are sentimental, you speak Krishna is sustaining, but how is he sustaining? When now we are sitting here, what we are using? Electricity for light. And after the end of the month, in your house, you use electricity. What comes? Electricity bill comes. Few hundred or thousand of rupees. And during the entire life, how much light did we get from sun and the moon? How much? Huh? If we receive that bill, then from our lifetime earning, will we be able to pay that bill? So who is maintaining? Who is sustaining? Krishna. So how much water do we drink? How much water do a normal person in his life, how much water he will drink? Huh? You cannot estimate. Can you estimate? Cannot estimate. Like I drink a lot of water. Every day I drink more than 5 liters of water. In summer it is even much more. So in a lifespan, how much of water I will be drinking or using or draining? We use little water and the municipal corporation gives bill. But if the Supreme Lord, for the taste of that water, he gives bill. And you take a liter of water, how much you pay? 20 rupees. Huh? So all the water that we have used in our life, if material nature were to bill it, how much will it be? Millions. So this is how we can see the gratitude. We can develop gratitude for Krishna. But how he is giving us everything is absolutely his. How he is maintaining us, how he is sustaining us. Okay, clear? So this verse explains how the Lord is all pervasive by his diverse material and spiritual energies. So here we're talking about the both the energies. Where is the spiritual part of the energy mentioned here in this verse? Very good. Pranava Sarva Vedesh. That is the transcendental sound. The Supreme Lord can be preliminarily perceived by his different energies, and in this way, he is realized impersonally. Like, if you want to see the sun, do we directly see the sun in the morning? No. What we see, that there is a dawn. First there, before the sun comes, there is darkness. Every day morning, I go for walk. Now what I see, now I have to wait, because it is dense dark. Till 6 o'clock in the morning, it is completely dark. There is no dawn. So at 6:10, 6:15, there is some dawn. The darkness of the night becomes less, and there is some, impulse of light. But the sun is not visible. So before the sun comes, what it emanates? It gives the light. And then when that light expands, gradually what we see, you can see the sun shining on the horizon. So that is how it is perceived, how the sun is perceived. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, he can be perceived by his different energies. The Prabhupada is giving an example that in this way he is realized impersonal. But so this is not a direct, complete realization of the Lord, but we are realizing him through his energy. Energy is a part, fraction of it, not a complete person. Like someone comes to one ministry. So from that ministry, what he can get? He can get to know that this ministry is governed by the minister, and that minister is appointed and governed by the prime minister. He does not get the complete knowledge or complete know-how about the prime minister. Why? Because the minister is one of his energy, one of his expansion. So that is the impersonal realization. Impersonal means full features are, most of it is covered. And Prabhupada gives the example of as a demigod in the sun is a person and is perceived by his all-pervading energy, the sunshine. So as we see the sun is there, we see the sun. But what do we consider the sun? We consider the sun a source of heat and light. Isn't it? Consider the sun a source of heat and light. But the sun is also a person. The sun also has a planet. It is called the sun planet. And there also are the residents. Like you see the water planet. Ocean is what? A water body, a water planet. So someone will say, where there is all water, can someone live? There are so many creatures who are living inside the water. So they have a body which is suitable, which can live in the water. We don't have a body. We cannot live in the water. We live on land. But there are some creatures which have a body which can remain in the sky. They fly. So which part of body is more in their constitution is air. Which part of body is more in those who are aquatics? Water. So similarly, there are inhabitants on the planet Sun. So what is more in their constitution? Fire. Simple. The simple logic. So the person, the sun is a demigod, Surya Dev, and he is a person. And but how he is perceived? He is perceived through his sunshine and through his heat. So through the sunshine and through the heat, do we know the person? No. So that is called impersonal realization. Impersonal realization means that we only see the aspect of his attribute. That is what? The sunshine and the heat. That is called impersonal. It is connected to the person, but the person's full manifestation is the complete personality is not visible or known. So it is called impersonal. So as a demigod in the sun is a person and is perceived by his all-pervading energy, the sunshine. So the Lord, although in his eternal abode, is perceived by his all-pervading diffusive energies. So this is an example. So how to be able to see? People say, as I said, if God exists, show me. Simple. Prabhupada said that if you drink water, and whenever you drink water, you get a taste of water. Krishna says, I am that thirst. So we can very easily become Krishna conscious or God conscious. So every time when we drink water, we should remember, actually. And we should thank the Supreme Lord. That it is because of him today that my thirst or my urge or my need to drink water has been satisfied. So how merciful he is. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Right? So, how much the taste of water is there? To the extent it is pure. And if it is polluted, or it is adulterated, or it is mixture with, it is combining with something else, then we're not inclined to drink. We feel a distaste of water. And this pure taste is one of the energies. So this Krishna is explaining to Arjuna. He is giving this knowledge to us that the pure taste of water is Krishna's energy. I remember, not this time I experienced. I went few months back also, but for the first time when I went to Rishikesh, that was in 2009. And at that time, Rishikesh was not like what we saw now. Just few months back when we went. You went with me, Rishikesh? So at that time, Rishikesh, there was not so much of crowding and so much of construction. We could see the Ganges flowing very freely. And so, welcome, Dinesh. Ek chair leo. Get a chair. Be comfortable. नहीं कोई बात नहीं. Please, welcome. Be comfortable. Sit on a chair. I am comfortable with it. बैठ जाओ, बैठो. Remain seated. So at that time, when I entered the water, it was so pristine, it was so clear but इसमें बैठने में तो दिक्कत नहीं है ना. Where you feel comfortable, either on floor or on chair, both options are there. So water was so crystal clear that I could see the surface below the water. And as I drank water, that taste has never been repeated. I have not found that taste again. And while, because I know swimming, so we were all devotees. And gone when I had joined 2009. My first trip as a brahmachari was to Haridwar, and then we went to Rishikesh. So I started to drink water. When you swim, you get some water in your mouth automatically. And when it, first touched my tongue, it tasted nectar. And naturally, what I did, I started to drink. And it was so relishable, it was so tasty that I drank a lot and lot of water. But my desire to drink was not over because it was giving me such immense satisfaction. So that is what Krishna is saying, that the purity in the water is Krishna. As the water becomes pure, its taste becomes more relishable, more pleasurable. Pure taste is one of the energies of Lord Krishna. So just by drinking water, we can become Krishna conscious. How? By every time we drink water, we remember Krishna. And this taste that we are getting is because of Krishna. It's rasa. Actually, everyone in this living condition, this material world is looking for that taste. Everyone is wanting to have that taste, that rasa, that satisfaction, or that pleasure. Everyone is for the pleasure hunt. So how the pleasure will come? The source of all pleasure, the source of all rasa, the source of all taste is Krishna. That is why Krishna is called as Rasraj. He is Rasraj. So if we connect with Krishna, if we serve Krishna, if we worship Krishna, if we follow Krishna, if we please Krishna, then Krishna can bestow that taste, not otherwise. And the entire world is trying to find taste. Where? Where there is no taste. Everything else is distaste. Why? Lord Krishna is here confirming that I am the taste. So instead of digging in deserts and trying to find water, what we have to do? We have to depend on Krishna and serve Krishna. If we do that, automatically what we will experience? Rasa. We will experience that rasa. That taste we are hankering for lifetime after lifetime. You experience that taste in the yatra? Higher taste. We were cut off from the entire world. 3 days we were in the spiritual world. How? Because we're trying to please Krishna, trying to serve Krishna, trying to worship Krishna. So Krishna released that taste. So please see here, and those devotees who are practicing, kindly follow what Krishna is speaking. Don't be misguided by the misdirected person. There is no taste outside the realm of Krishna. Krishna is very emphatically discussing here, declaring that Rasoham Apsupon. I am the taste. If we really want to have that spiritual taste, we have to receive it only through Krishna, coming in Guru. And then, of course, we discuss the other things also. The impersonalist perceives the presence of Lord in water by its taste. And the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench men's thirst. The Prabhupada is saying here that the personalist means the devotee. How do we deepen our devotion? By every time we drink water, we glorify the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. On what? That for both, the source of taste is only one. And that is the Supreme Lord. Don't get confused. And Prabhupada is saying that there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism because for both, the source of taste is only one, and that is Krishna. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and the personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and that there is no contradiction. So both aspects are there. Impersonal means to know him partially, and personalism means to know him personally. Both are peace. One is partially through his energies. If we approach the prime minister through the energies, that is why how that we go and meet the secretary, and secretary takes us to the minister, and then minister meet and say that prime minister is very busy, so you speak with me. Whatever he wants from you, he has told me. That is the impersonal way. And the personal way is that you directly meet the prime minister and you know from him what he wants from us as a law-abiding citizen. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine, Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. So, this aspect of the Supreme Lord, that he is both the controller, he is the operator, he is the maintainer, he is the creator, and how he functions through his diverse energies. You know the words? Parasha Shakti Vivadeva Suryate. He has multifarious energy. Like I said, the Prime Minister has so many ministers, so many departments. And through those ministers and through his department, what he does? He runs the government. Then coming to the second point. Prabha Asmi Shashi Surya. The light of the sun and moon is originally emanating from the Brahma Jyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. The Supreme Lord's body emanates such spiritual effulgence. It is called the Brahma Jyoti. When we cross this material world has how many planetary systems? Even science accepts 14. 14 planetary systems. So this material creation is within this 14 planetary system. So there is a full Vedic cosmology which explains the entire creation. So this material creation is how much? It's only 1/3. Material creation is 1/3 of the spiritual creation. So spiritual creation is 2/3. So when you come to the spiritual part, you cross the material realm, and that is not possible by any material means. That is only possible by spiritual elevation. Then the first outermost part of the spiritual realm is the Brahma Jyoti. That is what so many Gyanis and learned, what they want to do, they want to merge in the Brahma Jyoti. And they are seeking salvation. And where is this Brahma Jyoti coming? When we will come in the 14th chapter, Krishna will explain that in the last verse, Krishna will explain 14th chapter, 27th verse, that Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya avyavasya. That I am the basis of that impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. So Krishna is the source. So Krishna is impersonal in the form of Brahma Jyoti or spiritual effulgence. And Krishna is in the personal in the form of Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. So both exist, both aspects exist. Impersonal feature also exists and personal feature also. Like a person is there, Dinesh is there. Then take an example of Dinesh. You don't mind, I take your example. So he is someone's husband also. He is someone's father also. He is someone's son also. So his mother will not approach Dinesh ji how the students will approach Dinesh. Their approach And his mother's approach or his wife's approach is going to be completely different. So mother and wife, what will be their approach? Will be personal, on the basis of personal relations. And how the students will approach? Basis of his position. What is his position? That he is a professor. He is a teacher. You follow? So that is the difference. So, but the person has both the features. He has the personal feature, which he interacts with his family member, and he also has an official position. And on that official platform, he interacts with so many people in department, so many students, and so on and so forth. So both are there. Both are there or not? So I'm giving you one example to understand this aspect. The Supreme Lord has both the features. He has the impersonal feature. So it is up to us what feature we want to realize. Like the government has many currency notes. The government has 10 rupee note. The government also has 50 rupee note. The government also has 100 rupee note, and government also has 500 rupee note. All are valid. All are good currency. But 500 rupee note and 10 rupee note both are not the same. Are they the same? 500 has value which is much above. 10 is already included. 50 is already included. But in 10 and 50, you cannot have 500. So that is the difference. That is Achintya Bheda Vedta. So the light of the sun and the moon is also originally emanating from the Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is the spiritual effulgence of the Supreme Lord, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. And Pranava, okay, and I'll give you one another example that how Krishna is the Prabha Asmi Sashi Surya. When in the Mahabharata war, there was the conflict between two parties, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So one time it so happened that Jayadratha, Arjuna wanted to kill Jayadratha, and he took a vow that before the sunset, because the war was fought between sunrise and sunset. So he took a vow that before the sunset, what I will do, I will kill Jayadratha for his wrongdoing. What did Jayadratha do? Abhimanyu. Yeah, Abhimanyu. In a helpless condition, surrounded by so many other warriors. They all surrounded, and they all, with foul means they killed the innocent boy. So Arjun was very angry, and he said that before the sunset today, what I will do, I will kill Jayadratha. And what the Kauravas did, they put all resistance and resilience, not allowing Arjuna to reach up to Jayadratha. So what Krishna did? He withdrew the light from sun. And it seemed everyone thought that the sun has set. And Jayadratha and the Kauravas were very elated. And Jayadratha came out in the open, saying that now you have to fulfill your vow. And now I will not die, Arjuna will die. And as soon as Jayadratha came in front of Arjuna, what Krishna did? Krishna released the emanation of the sun. And the sun started to shine. And the Kauravas and the Jayadratha, what happened? Ultimately, Krishna killed Jayadratha. It has happened many times. Yesterday was the disappearance day of Sripad Nimbarkacharya. I spoke, huh? He could also do that. Once a Jain Muni came to him. You know Jain Muni? Jains, they don't eat after sunset. I have connection with the Jain families. I come from my parents who are practicing some kind of Jainism. So he wanted to provide food to that Jain saint, Nimbarkacharya. They were having debate and it became late in the debate. And he said that you are my guest. So how can I allow you go without, honoring you, Prasad? And he said, but I have a condition. I cannot eat when the sun is set. So Nimbarkacharya, what he did, he climbed up the neem tree. Neem tree was there to see how far the sun is and how much it has flown. And as he climbed, the sun came back. How? Because the control is with. We have heard the case of one chaste lady. She said from the next day, the sun will not rise. There is a chaste lady, and she has a husband who was suffering from leprosy. And one Brahmana, he passed by and he touched that husband. And because the husband was having leprosy, so this Brahmana became very angry with her husband and said, how dare you touch and contaminate me? So he took water from his water pot and cursed him that tomorrow morning you will not be able to see the sun. That means you will die. And when this chaste lady came to know about it, she said, my husband will only die when the sun will arrive. No? I will not allow the sun to come. So how it happened? The control is actually in the hand of Krishna or in the hand of Krishna's devotees. So here Krishna is explaining here that the light of the sun and moon is originally emanating from Brahma Jyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. Okay. Then Krishna talks about Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. Because, okay, because the impersonalists are very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna by his innumerable name, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound Omkar. But they do not realize that Omkar is the sound representation of Krishna. Krishna explains here that the word Om, among which is recommended or mentioned in all the Vedas, Krishna says that I am the syllable Om. I am the syllable Om. And Prabhupada explains in one of the purports in the 8th chapter that there is no difference between Om, yeah. Verse number 13. In the 8th chapter, verse number 13. You see in the purport. So Prabhupada is explaining, it is clearly stated here that Om, Brahman and Lord Krishna are not different. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om. So see, all these features which Krishna is recommending here, they are his energies. So how the realization will be? The realization will be impersonal. But the pervasiveness, we say na, that Krishna is omnipresent. Krishna is present in his entire creation. So how to see Krishna's presence in his creation is through his energies. So here in the 13th verse, Prabhupada is explaining in the 8th chapter that it is clearly stated that Om, Brahman and Lord Krishna are not different. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound Hare Krishna contains it. So we don't have to chant anything else. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is clearly recommended for this age. So if one quits his body at the time of life, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets according to the mode of his practice. The devotee of Krishna enters the Krishna planet Golok, for example. For the personalist, there are innumerable other planets known as Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, whereas the impersonalist remains in the Brahma. Again, it is okay. So those who are impersonalist, they will not chant Hare Krishna. So we ask people to chant Hare Krishna. Some simple-hearted, pure person, they will chant Hare Krishna. But those who are hardcore impersonalists, they will not chant Hare Krishna. What they will chant? They will chant Om. So Krishna saying, I am that Om. And that sound, Om, it is my presence. But it is avidhipur. When we will come to the later chapter, Krishna will explain this is not the perfect way to reach. This is the indirect way. It is an imperfect way. Difficult to reach. One may not be able to reach. But they do not realize that Omkar is the sound representation of Krishna. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere. And one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion. And so knowledge of Krishna is liberation and ignorance of him is bondage. Very striking statement Srila Prabhupada is saying that knowledge of Krishna is liberation and ignorance of him is bondage. Okay. So in this verse we understood and how 5 ways Krishna is present everywhere through his manifestation in his form of different energies. How? Taste of water, illumination of sun and the moon, then the chanting of the Om, then he is the sound in the ether and is also the ability in the Maya. Krishna will explain when he will come in the 10th chapter. Yad yad vibhuti mat sarva srimarurjitam eva tat tat eva bigachatvam man ek ansha sambhava. That from my spark of splendor, everything that you see is created, sustained, and maintained. Now come to the next verse. What is the time? Okay. I'll at least open this verse. Take 5-7 minutes more. At least I'll talk 2 verses. Then Krishna speaks in the 9th verse. He continues to explain how he is spread in the entire creation. How we can see Krishna's presence. Or how can we perceive Krishna factor in the entire nature or material creation. And he says, Punyo Gandha Prithivyam Cha Tejaschashmi Vibhavasho Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu Tapaschashmi Tapashvishu. So Krishna gives 4 more attributes here. So he says first thing is that Gandha. Where is the Gandha coming from? Prithvi. So you see, how much of fragrance can you extract from earth? Unlimited. Unlimited. Every fruit has a different flavor, fragrance. Every flower has a different flavor and fragrance. Where is it coming from? Where is the fragrance coming from? Earth. Where do you plant the seeds? Earth. Where is the source of fragrance? Earth. All fragrances are stored within the earth. But how to extract it? You put a particular seed, and from that seed, one plant will manifest. And from that plant, that fruit or flower will come, and that you can extract the fragrance. See what a perfect arrangement. Can man do that? Can he create anything? So Krishna is saying that original Punyo Gandha Prithivyaamsha, that original fragrance which is coming from the earth, it is coming from me alone, Arjuna. And Tejas Chasmi Vibhavashu. So first he speak about Prabha, which is coming from Sashi and Surya. And now he's talking about Tejas. Tejas which is coming from Agni. That is the fire. Fire which lights up everything. Or fire which allows us to do, it gives us so much of energy, which makes everything become cooked. How do we, what do we eat? Do we eat uncooked food? We all require cooking. So for cooking, what is required? Fire. And the heat in that fire, that prabhav, that vibhava, that tejas is Krishna. Then he says, Jivanam sarva bhuteshu. What is the Jivanam in all the living entities? is the soul. If the soul leaves the body is dead. So the soul, which is there in all the living entity, it is Krishna's energy. And then he says, Tapas Chashmi Tapasvishu. I am also the penance, the tapasya, which all the tapasvis are doing. All we are trying to say. So all where is it coming from? The source and origin of it is all from Krishna. I am the original fragrance of the earth. I am heat in fire. I am also the life of all that lives. And I am the penance of all the aesthetics. So if we will see, in this way we can appreciate and acknowledge. And gradually we become grateful. Otherwise people say, भगवान ने हमारे लिए क्या किया है? हम भगवान को क्यों माने? हम भगवान को क्यों पूजे? अगर भगवान नहीं चाहेंगे तो ना हमें जल मिलेगा, ना हमें सूर्य और शशि मिलेगा, हाँ, ना ही हमें भोजन मिलेगा, ना ही हम भोजन को पका पाएंगे और ना ही हम भोजन को पचा पाएंगे. कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे. Completely helpless, completely dependent on Krishna. Okay. So punya means which is not decomposed. Punya is the origin. My teacher gave me the example of how to feel the fragrance of earth, how strong the fragrance of earth is. When you have the first monsoon shower, when there is first monsoon shower, and as soon as the raindrops touch the land, what comes out? You can feel a very meaty fragrance. Have you felt or not? I have been feeling it since I read this verse and since he gave me this commentary and vision, the Gyan vision. So every time I look for, whenever there is first monsoon rain, I make it a point to experience that fragrance. It does not come next time. It comes only once. When the first monsoon shower, after months of scorching heat, it hits the land, you experience that fragrance. And it is such an intoxicating fragrance. Amazing fragrance. So that is original. Krishna is saying, Punya Gandha. Krishna is not ordinary fragrance. That perfume that people are preparing, that is not Krishna. Don't get converted or don't get confused. Krishna is saying the original fragrance of the earth. The punya means which is not decomposed. Punya is original. Everything in the material world has a certain flavor or fragrance. As the flavor and fragrance in the flower or in the earth, in water, in fire, in air, etc. The uncontaminated flavor, the original flavor, which permeates everything is Krishna. Similarly, everything has a particular original taste. And that taste can be changed to by the various mixture of chemicals. So everything original has some smell, some fragrance, and some taste. Like Krishna gave the example of water before. Vibhavasha means fire. Without fire, we cannot run factories, we cannot cook, and that fire is Krishna. The heat in the fire is Krishna. When the devotee of Krishna was put into fire, Krishna withdraw the heat. क्या हुआ? कुछ नहीं हुआ, जला नहीं, बढ़ गया. और अगर किसी को जलाना हो तो हाँ, भगवान फायर एमिनेट कर दे, वो जल के मर जाए. He came out again. Even the fire can be emanated from the stomach. But अभी कभी हुआ ऐसा कि किसी की जठरा अग्नि से वो जल के मर गया? नहीं होता, कभी नहीं होता. So everything is so balanced, so well controlled. The heat in the fire is Krishna. According to Vedic medicine, indigestion is due to low temperature in the belly. So even for digestion, fire is needed. Which Agni it is called? Jatra Agni. Jatra. ये जठरा अग्नि किसमें ज्यादा थी? भीम में. Bhimsen had, some people have Jatra Agni. How do we know they have Jatra Agni? उनको जितनी बार खिलाओगे वो खाएंगे, वो कभी मना नहीं करेंगे और सब पच जाएगा उनको. One time one devotee was telling me that in my belly I have crusher. He was to live in Vrindavan. He went for his training in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan temple, we have two time prasad. Morning 9:30, evening 3 o'clock. Then from 3 o'clock till next day 9:30. How many hours? You have never gone to, you will never experience that training. How many hours? Huge number of hours. An entire night. And he said that after 3:30 till 9:30 in the morning, my Jatra Agni gives me so much of difficulty. But what he had to do? He had to sustain. Not that he will go and eat anywhere and everywhere, whatever, he will look for what to eat. No. Brahmacharya life means that what is authorized and what is provided to you, you accept. Not provided to you, you fast. So Krishna is saying that he is that heat in the fire. So then we were joking, then you please pray to Krishna to minimize that fire. But if he minimizes, then what will be the result? You cannot digest anything. There is indigestion. If the fire becomes less in the belly, that is what the Ayurveda detects. The reason for indigestion, one of the reasons is that one is not able to digest. Why one is not able to digest? Because the fire in the stomach is become dim. So Prabhupada is saying, according to Vedic medicine, indigestion is due to low temperature in the belly. So even for digestion, fire is needed. In Krishna consciousness, you become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. See, previously Krishna explains Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu. So that is Krishna's energy, separated energy. And in each energy, Krishna is the active principle. Like Bhumi, what is he? He is Gandha. What is he there? In the fire, he is the Tejas. What is he there in water? He is the taste. What is there in the ether? He is the sound. So if you see this way, then you can become, the Prabhupada is saying that in Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. The duration of man's life is also due to Krishna. That is what he says, that Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminish it. So Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere. Okay. So I'll have to stop here because it has crossed 8, 9. Next time I will take the next two verses, which will speak further. How to see Krishna presence in all walks of our life. We all drink water. We all use fire, electricity. Every day we require sun and the moon. All this in our normal day-to-day affair. What we can see the effect of Krishna in our life. And this is called Krishna consciousness. To be able to see Krishna's presence everywhere and to be able to see Krishna's hand in all that it is. That is called Krishna consciousness. So these chapters are making us become Krishna conscious. Krishna is revealing his knowledge, his confidential knowledge. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. Any discussion, any inquiry or question or any challenge? All good. बोलिए कोई प्रश्न है हाँ बोलिए गिव द माइक अच्छा आई हैव ब्रॉट द स्पीकर दे दिया या नहीं इट इज वर्किंग फाइन एंड लेट इट रिमेन लाइक दैट प्लीज डोंट ब्रिंग इट बोलिए हाँ वो सहज ऐसे होगा क्योंकि अभी कृष्ण ने हमें बता दिया ना अभी तक हमें पता नहीं था और हमारा उसकी तरफ क्या नहीं गया था हमारा ध्यान या हमारी चेतना उससे कनेक्ट नहीं हुई। ठीक है, तो अब कृष्ण ने बनाया, तो हम भगवान को जल का भोग लगाते हैं। ठीक है, और उसके बाद उसको स्वीकार करते हैं। तो उसमें जब आप भोग लगा के जल पियोगे, आप देखोगे उसका टेस्ट ही डिफरेंट हो जाता है। मैंने इतनी बार एक्सपीरियंस किया उसको, बहुत बार एक्सपीरियंस किया। तो जब उस आपको वो जो डिफरेंस दिखेगा ना, वो टेस्ट क्या है, कृष्ण। तो व्हाट वी शुड फील ग्रेट। प्रभुपाद एक्सप्लेन कैसे हम उसको करना है। प्रभुपाद ने लिखा ना कि जो पर्सनलिस्ट है वो क्या करता है, ही थैंक्स कृष्णा फॉर काइंडली सप्लाइंग अस वाटर एंड क्वेंचिंग आवर थर्स्ट। लिखा है उसमें, हमने जो अभी पढ़ा उसमें लिखा है, हम ध्यान नहीं देते ना। ये पार्ट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि प्रैक्टिकली हमें क्या करना है। Prabhupada लिखा, the personalist perceives the presence of Lord in water by his taste, and the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme practically. Okay? So every time we drink water, what we should do? We thank Krishna. We acknowledge Krishna, that Krishna has come to me in the form of this tasty water and is quenching my thirst. So we thank him. Every time we see the sun and the moon, we thank him. Simple. That is the way of practicing Krishna consciousness practically. Possible or difficult? No. But we have to practice because we are very ungrateful people. We do not acknowledge Krishna's gifts in our life. And we keep complaining to him and keep calling him names that you have not done anything for us. Just see. If you have someone for whom you are doing so much and he keeps, calling you names, then what you will do? You will kick him and say, get out. And then you be on your own and know what I am doing for you. But Krishna never does that. Yes, क्यों बोले? हाँ, हो जाएगा, संभव है। कृष्णा बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन इसको प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ेगा, जैसा कृष्ण बता रहे, जैसे आचार्य। अभी बहुत, अब कोई बोलेगा कि मैं मेडिकल लाइन में जाऊंगा तो क्या मैं डॉक्टर बन जाऊंगा? स्वाभाविक है। लेकिन मेडिकल लाइन में जाने के लिए जो मेडिकल प्रोसेस है उसको फॉलो करना पड़ेगा। बोलेगा नहीं, मैं अपनी मर्जी से बुक पढ़ूंगा, कौन सी बुक मैं पढ़ूंगा वो मैं डिसाइड करूंगा, तो वो डॉक्टर बन जाएगा सर? या पीएचडी बन जाएगा? नहीं बनेगा। उसको कहाँ आना पड़ेगा? जो एक रिकॉग्नाइज मेडिकल कॉलेज है उसमें एडमिशन लेना पड़ेगा ना। और वहां का जो सिलेबस है उसको प्रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा। और वहां जो एग्जाम्स होते हैं, जो पेपर्स होते हैं, उनको पास करना पड़ेगा, तभी वो डॉक्टर बनेगा। वरना डॉक्टर नहीं बन सकता, नहीं बन सकता। तो ऐसे तो भगवान सब जगह है, सर्वव्याप्त है, हमारे हृदय में भी है। तो क्या हम देख सकते हैं? हमारे पास वो है विजन, अभी बताया। हम उनको क्या, हम अपने आप को नहीं देख सकते? हम अपने मन और बुद्धि को नहीं देख सकते? तो हमारे पास क्षमता ही नहीं। तो क्षमता कहाँ से आएगी? भगवान बताया ना, आई एम दी एबिलिटी इन मैन। तो एबिलिटी भी कहाँ से आएगी? उन्हीं से आएगी। कब आएगी? वो कब रिलीज करेंगे? जब हम उनके अनुसार चलेंगे। अपने अनुसार चलेंगे तो वो देंगे? नहीं देंगे, नहीं बोलेंगे। तो ये बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है समझना। इसलिए भगवान ने भगवद गीता में कहा, ये ज्ञान किसको मिलेगा? एवं परंपरा प्राप्त हो। जो परंपरा से, जो परंपरा में आएगा। परंपरा का मतलब क्या है? टू फॉलो। ऐसे लोग कलयुग में बहुत कम होंगे, क्योंकि सब क्या बनना चाहते हैं? हाँ, सब अपनी परंपरा शुरू करना चाहते हैं, परंपरा में नहीं आना चाहते। वो अपनी परंपरा शुरू कर रहे हैं। पावरमेंट है नहीं, कनेक्शन है नहीं। हाँ? अब कोई कितना भी बढ़िया मोबाइल फोन ले आए, लेकिन किसी ऑपरेटर का सिम है नहीं, तो बात होगी कहीं? कुछ नहीं होगा। एक फोन दिखाता रहेगा, फ्लैश करेगा, उसमें बढ़िया लाइट है, उसमें बढ़िया म्यूजिक है, ये है वो सब चलेगा, बाहर से लोग बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन पोटेंसी नहीं है, कनेक्शन नहीं है। ठीक है, पोटेंसी कनेक्शन क्या होता है पता चल जाता है, पता चलता है। जिस प्रभुपाद एग्जाम्पल देते हैं, जो लेडी प्रेग्नेंट नहीं है, वो चाहे कितना भी ढोंग करे, दिखावा करे, वो बच्चा डिलीवर नहीं कर सकते। होगा? नहीं होगा। हरे कृष्णा। एनीवन एल्स? और कोई क्वेश्चन? प्रश्न पूछिए। प्रश्न पूछने से क्या होता है, पता चलता है कि जो प्रिंसिपल है उसके ऊपर थोड़ा मेडिटेशन हुआ है, थोड़ा हार्ट उसके ऊपर गया है, वरना तो ये बुक में ही रह जाएगा। बोलिए, माइक दे दीजिए। माइक चल रहा है ना? हाँ
Just in continuation with whatever she asked.
हाँ।
So,
व्हाट इज योर क्वेश्चन यार?
yes, Mother.
हाँ।
We know that Lord Krishna is giving us the knowledge how we can realize in
Yeah.
daily life. But so simple, but why do we know sometimes we feel okay?
We don't know. If we knew, then we would accept. This is what Prabhupada wrote in that statement. Now, knowledge about Krishna is liberation, and ignorance is bondage. So we get this knowledge, but this knowledge remains momentarily. And our ignorance is so deep that it again and again covers. So that is why what is required? Regular practice is required. Shravanam is required. And after Shravanam, there has to be Kirtanam and Paranam, to make that knowledge penetrate into our consciousness. Begin. Every time we drink water, at least 10 times we drink, at least one time acknowledge genuinely and pray to Krishna that whenever I drink water, I may be able to remember it. Prabhupada said once in one of his lectures, even the drunkards who are drinking, if they are drinking wine and they are thinking they are enjoying, and if they can say that the taste of wine is Krishna, they can also become Krishna conscious. Now, what to speak of anyone else? But for the person who is inclined to enjoy this material world, this material body, this material sense objects, it is difficult for him to meditate in this way. So as we become pure, we are able to see Krishna's hand, Krishna's presence everywhere. And to the extent our consciousness is impure, then we cannot acknowledge. So that is the process of purification. As we become pure, we'll be able to easily acknowledge. And to the extent we remain impure, we remain contaminated, then even if Krishna comes in the front, we don't acknowledge. The Prabhupada is giving, this is Krishna is giving, step by step we will say. The first thing is to hear very attentively. He says, Mai asakta mana. When the time of hearing comes, it is the asakti is somewhere else. Then how can one hear? And if one cannot hear, then how can one develop any attraction for Krishna? Any attachment for Krishna? Not possible. So, but one has to practice. In that practice, there is tapasya. There will be always such situations of diversion, distraction. So one has to become fixed. One has to become fixed. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. I'm very feeling very enlivened after discussing these two verses. And that glorious statement of Prabhupada. Knowledge of Krishna is liberation, and ignorance about him is bondage. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare